finally a fantastic Thursday night game starting us off. I mean, Thursday night games aren't always the best games, but we have a really good one this week.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a lot is on the line. NFC West title, MVP between Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson could be on the line. Just a lot of fun. I think it's going to be high scoring. I actually just made a pick live, Higgins,
I
while you were
saw that.
doing
I
the ad
saw that.
read. I know I might have thrown you off on the ad read. I'm sorry. I was making a pick. Um, but over 57 and a half, that seems very within play here, at least in my mind. These teams scored a bunch the last time they met. That was a thrilling game, honestly, to watch in Arizona. This one's going to be in Seattle. So I kind of like where your head's at.
Well, so this is an interesting over-under number because the game before that was an overtime thriller was a 30 to 27 game that the Cardinals won in overtime. That adds up to 57. This line's at 57 and a half. They are expecting something very similar. The line is at 3 again. I'm taking Seattle at home because this feels like a must-win scenario for Seattle. They are in a three-way tie for the lead in the NFC West right now, but they already have a loss to the Cardinals. They already have a loss to the Rams, who they're tied with as well. Seattle needs this win for any potential tiebreaker scenarios. They lose this, it is very hard for them to be able to clinch a division in the case of a tie. Not to mention, they're getting potentially Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde back, and maybe even another running back. They're getting their running game back, basically, which is going to help revamp that offense after they suffered a tough loss last week. So Arizona's riding that high of the game-winning catch by DeAndre Hopkins, and with a short week, I'm wondering if there's gonna be a little bit of a hangover.
Yeah, I mean, for the over under thing, I don't think either team can stop anyone. And in terms of who's going to win the game, I think this is going to be a nail biter. It's going to come down to the last drive. But from what I've seen of Seattle over the last 3 weeks, I'm a little more concerned. And with what I've seen over Arizona from the last 3 weeks, I'm a little more optimistic. But I do think a lot of that concern, Seattle's been on the road losing, and I think it's weird because I don't really, and I don't know, maybe you feel differently, Higgins, but I haven't really been handicapping like road, like there haven't been that many fans or things like that. I mean, I guess it comes into
Mm-hmm.
play Denver, Utah in college football, but that hasn't really been my, oh, it's going to be loud, it's going to be tough to play in that environment. But for Seattle, it has been a big problem.
Well, it's interesting that this is Seattle's problem because typically they're the stadium that can be a tough place to go and play, the 12th man. So they're getting a little taste of their own medicine with no fans being there, having a hard time playing on the road. It's a little interesting, I agree. Let's get into the Sunday games though, Brett, because the Pats just had a very nice win over Baltimore, and I think this is exactly where New England all of a sudden comes into the picture again for the AFC East after they started so poorly. They play Houston, who's 2-7 on the year. They're only a 1.5 point underdog because they're on the road. I think England's going to take this win. They're going to go to 5-5, and all of a sudden we're going to hear whispers of Bill Belichick's back with New England and all this different stuff. And who knows? There's still plenty of time left in the season.
There is plenty of time left in the season. I never count the Patriots out. I think the Patriots, what they do well, Houston does not stop. So, for instance, Houston, not a great run defense. New England, probably the only thing they do well is run the football. So, that's probably a bad matchup, and that would lead me to believe that New England -1.5. It seems like a pretty decent bet there, Higgins.
Yeah, so New England averages 161 yards rushing per game. Houston's defense allows 167 yards of rushing per game.
Yep,
That's That sounds fitting. I think you're spot on analysis right there.
Yeah, thank you. I try really, really hard.
All right, now another one of the early games that I'm going to be on Saturday is Pittsburgh versus the Jags. Now, the Steelers, they're very telling in how seriously they're taking this game against 1-8 Jaguars team because Mike Tomlin answered very clearly that he doesn't believe in there being a cakewalk game in the NFL. Everyone's professionals. He said this isn't a Big Ten game against a MAC opponent.
I know,
And
and Ben Roethlisberger took some exception to that. He said, "He did you see his quote, Higgins?"
I didn't, but it would be fitting because he went to Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, so he actually said, "I'll talk some smack when when I figure out whatever conference William and Mary is in." Which, do
Oh,
you know what conference William and Mary is in?
no, why would I?
The CAA. The
Okay.
CAA.
Okay. Well, so Pittsburgh, they got scared against Dallas already when they had their look over game 2 games ago, and they responded against Cincinnati. I don't expect they're going to look at this game like a step over game again, and so -10, I think they're going to win by double digits, just like they did against the Bengals.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I I guess I don't know. Green Bay came out sleeping against Jacksonville. Jacksonville had a special teams touchdown in that one where Keelan Cole made the punter look absolutely silly on that kick return. But
Well, it is hurricane season down in Florida.
it is.
They don't have anything heading there right now. Iota went down to Nicaragua and made landfall there. There's nothing heading in Florida this weekend, but you never know. It could get rainy. It could get wet. It could get hard to play football.
Yeah, you never know. And it just rains in Florida anyway sometimes. So,
Just for fun.
yeah, just because. So you never know. But I expect Pittsburgh to win that one. And yeah, Mike Tomlin definitely made it clear that he is not taking the Jags lightly. Two teams that no one will be watching, but I will be betting on the Bengals and the Washington football team. The Bengals plus 1.5. That just feels wrong to me. So I'm going to take the Bengals. I think they're the better football team, Higgins.
Yeah, I was looking at that game as well. I like the fact that you get +1 for +100 odds. I mean, it's not bad at all. I mean, you have a chance for a push if it's a one-score game in this interesting matchup. But I think the Bengals honestly could walk away with this win anyways. Joe Burrow against Alex Smith, not very interesting to me, but Joe Burrow continues to try to get better, so maybe they pull out the win.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cincinnati's just better. So that's the fact that they're dogs. I don't know who I'd have Washington dogs to or favored against. Maybe Dallas, they'd be my favorite, but that's the only team I can think of, to be honest with you. So really no one there. And then I'm also gonna find myself on this Packers Colts game, Higgins. Green Bay plus 1.5. Green Bay struggled a little bit against Jacksonville, as we just mentioned, but I think they come back refocused against this Indianapolis team. Indianapolis is at home, so I get why they're the favorites. They beat Tennessee last week. They did it pretty handedly. But I just think Green Bay's better, so I'm gonna take the better team getting points. I don't really care that it's on the road.
Yeah, that was another game that I had looked at. That was another game that I'd probably find myself on by Sunday. I just wasn't picking it right now. That's the game that makes sense to me too. I think Green Bay would cover and probably
Honestly,
win that game.
honestly, it's probably a sucker's bet. Like, why is Indianapolis the favorite, right? Well,
Because
they're
they're
going
at
to win
home.
the game, but we'll all sit here and we're going to be like, Green Bay. So I'm going to be a sucker. I'm going to take Green Bay. I just think they're going to come back refocused. I don't think they're happy with how that Jaguars game played out. And I'm really kind of taking this as a bounce back spot against Green Bay. It just so happens that they're dogs. So I really like it.
Well, I really like the Sunday night game because the Chiefs are heading to Vegas to go play the Raiders, and We all know that the Raiders surprised the Chiefs in their first matchup of the year. I think the Chiefs are going to play spoiler again this week. I mean, they're coming off of their bye. They've got their team pretty focused. The Raiders, they've kind of plugged along, but they're struggling a little bit, even though they're at 3 straight wins. They've had some difficulties against the likes of Justin Herbert, where they were able to eke out a win and things of that nature. Just think the Chiefs are going to come out and get this one. And -7.5, you said Green Bay felt like a sucker's bet. I feel like this being just over a touchdown's a bit of a sucker's bet, but I'm taking it anyways.
uh, well, I guess it's tough to say, but Vegas did win outright last time. So I do think the Chiefs are coming in a little extra motivated. We saw some of that driving around the stadium controversy come up this week. Maybe it's not controversy. Gruden kind of downplayed it a little bit, blamed it on the bus driver. Who knows? But yeah, 7.5. That seems within reason, especially with the bad blood that we kind of saw in the media this week, and with the results of that last game.
Yeah, that was interesting. The whole uh, bus driving around the Chiefs and everything like that. I don't really know what to make of that. We'll see how this goes this time around. When they go to Vegas, maybe the bus driver gets lost again for the Chiefs this time.
Maybe he gets a little. Maybe he talks a little smack, and they have to drive around the stadium to cool off.